bit of housekeeping before we kick off. The actual session today is being recorded, so if any of you have colleagues that couldn't attend, the recording will be made available next week for you to sort of pass around. And if any of you kind of join late or sort of lose connection at any point, then you can sort of catch up on that recording. Also, you're all sort of on mute, but we have a dialog box on the right-hand side. So if you have any questions, then please feel free to sort of type those questions in, and we will pick those up towards the end of the session and try and answer any questions that you have today. So I think if we sort of just kick off. So Paul, you can just pop up the next slide, please. I'll just introduce you to EBEX for you guys that don't know us. So we are a lead Dynamics partner and have been Partner of the Year in the UK for 4 of the last 5 years, including International Partner of the Year during that time. So we have proven credentials in the Dynamics field going back quite some time, and we have been around for 15 years. So the part of EBEX that is with you this afternoon is the Business Intelligence component. So it's taking the valuable data you've got in your ERP and specifically your Dynamics solution and making better use of it. So we're sort of focused in that particular arena, and that's the bit that we're going to talk to you about this afternoon. So if we just introduce you very briefly to the solution that we're talking about today, which is the ZAP Business Intelligence solution. And this is a partnership that we have had for many years, and there are many installations throughout the globe and across a number of countries. So ZAP have been around for pretty much a similar amount of time themselves and very focused on Dynamics-based solution. So there are a lot of customers across a whole range of verticals. I know you guys are probably from a number of backgrounds, so covering anything from profit through to manufacturing, distribution, logistics, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of case studies and proven customers that are already used in the solution that we're going to show you this afternoon. So the key components and the key objectives of this solution is this overriding build versus buy message. And traditionally, business intelligence solutions have to be built from the ground up. So in order to unlock your valuable data, you have to go through a whole process of creating a solution and building it from the ground up. And what we're talking about here today is a far more rapid approach to that problem that you have with analytics and dashboards, which will give you a quick return on investment, which is a combination of the solution we're going to show you today, plus our process, our rapid return approach, which means you can empower users very, very quickly and not have to wait for a typical 6, 12, 18 months in order to deploy these. You also have the ability to create a totally consolidated solution which will give you total consistency with tools that they're very familiar with. So you can focus on the business and the business benefits and not on the actual technology that is key, but technology being an enabler, and you can focus on the business benefits of a lot of content that we'll show you this afternoon. Also, adoption is very, very key with all these solutions, and because we're working with familiar tools with content that's pretty much good to go from your dynamic solution, then you can get those guys enabled pretty quickly. So at this point, Paul, if you're there, I'd like to hand over to Paul, who's going to sort of go into a bit more detail and give you a demonstration of the solution this afternoon. Thanks, Paul. Are you okay there?
Yes, thanks, Nigel. Thanks for that.
Excellent. Brilliant.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So my name's Paul Saxton. I sit in a pre-sales role within the Business Intelligence team, and I'm going to take you through ZAP Business Intelligence today. So When we think about business intelligence in a dynamic setting, we have a number of challenges that we need to address. So those range from the complexity of the data models to the rapid changing requirements that we tend to find ourselves in current business, through to project life cycle concerns. So we need to get rapid return on our investment and start to get value from our investment as quickly as possible. We also see challenges around user adoption, and then through to what's most commonly a problem with the high level of technical skills required to be able to utilize the technology effectively. So if you think about that specifically here with Dynamics AX, although the same is true for those customers out there that are using Dynamics CRM, we've got a large number of tables with a complex database with challenges around table relationships, the security of those data models, and then of course we have to take account for any security that we are going to need to implement as part of that solution. So how do we solve that with ZAP? Well, first of all, if we take complexity, this is a solution that's designed specifically for the Dynamics application. So in this setting, I'm going to be talking about Dynamics AX. We've got a real great tie-in when it comes to the application understanding the line of business system. So the ability to read those data models inside of the Dynamics AX or CRM system and the relationships between those tables. We also have a pre-built data warehouse and analytic model that comes right out of the box. And what's really a fantastic value add for me when extending that pre-built data model is the ability to profile the data inside that line of business system. We're also able to merge multiple instances and databases together, and all wizard-driven technologies that are easy for end users to understand and, importantly, to take ownership of them themselves. If we think about that extensible model that we talked about, what we have is automatic data discovery. This identifies customizations. It's a fantastic tool for me in pre-sales to be able to implement a proof of concept, including all of the customizations, because they're highly easy for me to identify within the system. And that delivery mechanism through an Agile methodology. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Another thing I just wanted to add, that this is a model that can be extended for data sources outside of Dynamics. So I'm going to focus on those two Dynamics elements, as we said before, for the rest of the session. But we have had some great success extending the reach of the application outside of those the dynamic space. So what's most of us are under pressure to achieve these days is real rapid return on investment. Typical BI projects can be quite lengthy, and this really ties into the build versus buy message that Nigel touched on a little earlier. Historically, BI projects can take 18 to 24 months before we get any meaningful analysis. But due to this pre-built content and the speed and simplicity that we can extend that out-of-the-box functionality, we're able to get a real rapid return on investment. And of course, the way that we undertake the project is just as important as the technology itself, with the technology supporting a much more agile, Scrum-based project approach. So when we undertake a ZAP implementation, we think of this in a number of sprints or iterations for those of you that are not so familiar with an Agile implementation. We can go from installing the software through an initial process and profile, mapping any additional mapping any customer data to the pre-built templates, testing and releasing to production. We're typically able to achieve that in very small amounts of time. So it wouldn't be unusual for us to be able to do that within an initial 5-day cycle, with maybe 1 or 2 iterations after that before customers are self-sufficient with the application. So another really key element of a business intelligence application is user adoption. User adoption is something that we find is a real barrier to entry into business intelligence for a lot of our customers. Mainly this is caused by confusion of the number of different applications that are available. So what we have here with the ZAP Business Intelligence solution is a single application that's web-based, really easy for users to access. We get that same functionality whether we're accessing it via a browser on a PC or via a mobile device. Really important to note, obviously I'm not able to show you it actually running on a mobile device on my screen here today. I will show you what the touch-based mobile interface would look like, and that will render on tablets and phones, and it will work on any version. So we're looking at the ability to view the same content rendered on iPhone, Android or iPad, effectively any mobile platform you can think of. Those pre-built templates again are really important to us. So the number that you see there, 750 plus reports, KPIs and analytics specifically aimed there at AX. We have a similar amount of content available for Dynamics CRM. And these templates are ready right out of the box. If we take a look at the solution all up, we have a number of elements here. We've got our data management layer allowing us to connect to different data sources, and we call that Cube Express. We've got our presentation layer, which is provided by ZAP Business Intelligence, and we're going to see that in a minute or so. We've also got our Dynamics integration layer. So we talked about the fact that we have web-based HTML5 technologies which can be rendered in any device, but obviously that also allows us to embed those analytics directly into the Dynamics solutions. And of course, our business outcomes, which are our 750 out-of-the-box analytics for AX. Really, it's 4 elements that, for me, show the value of the proposition from ZAP. That's a reduction in risk, the increased time to value via a rapidly extensible model, and really that ease of end-user adoption and self-sufficiency of our customers. So I think that's enough slides from me. What I'm going to do here is get into the demonstration. So I'm going to start by showing you the ZAP Business Intelligence portal. Here I am in a browser, and ZAP supports any browser that we care to use. On the left-hand side here, we can see a number of different folders. This is the out-of-the-box content that you would receive during that initial iteration of deployment. So all of this content would be available and functional based on your data right out of the box. We can see we've got areas covering accounts payable, accounts receivable, finance, inventory, purchasing, sales, warehousing, and then if we go through, we have some manufacturing specific analytics as well. Really important to note, if I expand here, I'm going to take a look at the Sales Manager dashboard in a second. If I hover over a folder or analytic, I get a nice little pop-up which tells me a bit more detail about that particular resource. So let's open that Sales Manager dashboard. I'm just going to give this a few seconds for your screens actually to refresh. I'm conscious I have a mirrored screen over here and it seems to be taking a little while for that to update. Hopefully you can see that now. We have our Sales Manager dashboard, which is a number of different analytics plotted on one page. If I look over here on the right hand side, I've got a good representation of who my best performing salesperson is, and in this case it's Oscar. If I hover over Oscar, I can get more details about that word cloud visualization. Again, that hover over capability is possible throughout the system. I just need to pick a data point and hover my mouse over. I also have interactivity with the dashboard, so if I pick phones over here, we can see the rest of the analytics on the page change in line with my selection. Down the bottom, I have my top 20 ranking items. At the moment I have that ordered by quantity. I can very quickly interact and have that ordered by amount, and I can actually switch that round and do it to descending or ascending as I need to. The visualizations don't have to be graphical in each case. So over here I'm going to take a look at the corporate sales overview. So rather than plotting everything as pie charts and bar charts, I can get something that's much more textually driven. On the top we can see we have slices, so I'm able to take selections and choose different companies, for example, and that one resource, that one analytic would fulfill a number of different requirements. Just to show you another option for visualizations and prove that we aren't just talking about dashboards, we aren't just talking about text-driven information. We can go right down to a detailed balance sheet over here, which is again really easy for us to create. We have those same slices which allow us to switch between different companies, apply different budget models, or change the currently selected period. So that's just a little bit of an example of some of the content that we see for Dynamics AX, and also the different types of visualizations. For those of you that are interested in Dynamics CRM, hopefully you can see over here on the left hand side we have content right out of the box for CRM2 covering sales, marketing and service. I'm going to take a look at a corporate scorecard now for our KPI solution, our CRM solution. We're going to take a look at this in a bit more detail later and see this embedded inside the line of business system, but we can see we've got a really good graphically rich visualization of our KPIs all rolling up in this scorecard. Of course we can see we've got a problem here with our campaign management. We've got quite a few red dots on the status lines, so let's drill into that information. I'm able to click on a link which takes me to a dashboard that gives me more detail, and this is really important, because what we find is most customers ask for a specific report or KPI to be generated. Of course, when they see a problem with that report or KPI, they want to be able to drill into the detail. What we want to do there is provide them with a guided path to get more information, rather than them necessarily having to build new content for themselves. And this is a great way to be able to do that, chaining resources together. So we can see here in our campaign summary dashboard that our return of investment is quite low over here on the right hand side. We can see our expenditures quite high, and we seem to be spending quite a lot on advertisement. So I just wanted to show you a few examples of some content just there. What I'm going to do right now is show you how easy it is to work with a solution and create some new content from scratch. So I'm just going to connect to a cube. For those of you that are not really familiar with Cube technologies, what this allows us to do is provide pre-canned queries, effectively the interaction between the tables in the line of business systems in AX and CRM, and allow us to drag and drop that information. This really presents itself as a list of things that we can pick from on the left-hand side. The first thing that we're going to do in this situation is we're going to create a really simple sales invoice report. I'm going to hover over sales invoice line amount, and here you can see that the pop-up is telling me what that field contains, and also for those of you a bit more technical, at the bottom we can actually see the table and column name from Dynamics AX. I'm going to drag that across onto columns. Notice that my list of things to pick from has automatically been filtered. This has been filtered to those fields and columns that are available to be chosen against the sales invoice line amount. So it's removing the concern of picking irrelevant information. So let's just open up here. We're going to go to customer, and we're going to bring the customer onto the row. So really quickly building this report, I'm going to go to company. I'm going to put company in my slicer to give me the ability to switch between different companies if I want to. I'm going to also do some relative time filtering here. So this is a really great feature of ZAP. This gives us the ability to choose specific periods. I'm going to, in this case, pick the current month. And what we'll see on the report is the data is filtered to information from the current month. The great thing there is that obviously I can create a report, and each time I go into the report I'm only going to get the information from the current month, but that's going to change dynamically. The next thing I'm going to want to do, I'm going to right click customers. I'm going to change to be a top count report. So I'm going to take the top 10 customers. Hopefully you can see this moving relatively quickly now. I'm going to set my count to 10. I'm going to order that by the sales line invoice amount and apply that. So we've got our top 10 customers really quickly and easily. I'm going to right click and drag that top count, and I'm going to add a sum formula. Again, I'm not writing any code, I'm very quickly dragging and dropping. So I'm going to change that to say total for top 10 customers. And that relative time capability is also just as easy to use on columns. So here I'm interested in what my position was at this time last year. I'm simply right clicking and dragging the amount. I'm going to go to time, I'm going to go to period to date totals, and I'm going to go to last year month to date. So really quickly I've done some quite complex analysis here showing me the current month, dynamically changing of course, and then the same period for last year. All drag and drop, all really easy to create. And once I've finished designing the report, I can turn the design placeholders off, and I get a nice, clean looking, easy to use environment. So just to show you what that looks like in a mobile client, I'm going to go over here and click on the Go to Mobile page. So the idea here is, remember that this is all HTML5 based and that this would render on any device. We can see those same folder structures. Remember we had our foundation pack. We're going to go into sales, and we're going to open the Sales Manager dashboard just the same. Notice that on a touch device we've got a nice big area to click on. We've actually got our descriptions right on the tiles. There we go, exactly the same visualization. We've got a bit more real estate, and for those end users actually my preference is to direct them to the mobile site. So the last thing I want to show you here is I'm going to flick across to AX. So here I am inside a role center, and you can see that we've got our ZAP Business Overview web part right inside the application, so there's no need to go to a separate portal if we don't want to. We can provide that information integrated directly into the AX role center. Hovering over gives me that same capability, and clicking would give me that same interaction. Of course, I don't just have to embed AX information. Over here, here's our CRM scorecard embedded right inside the role center as well. So hopefully that's given you a good flavor for the ZAP application. What I'm really excited to tell you today, for those of you that maybe are currently ZAP users, is we've got certainly a UK partner exclusive to release some information on ZAP version 7. The exciting things here happening with Release 7 of the ZAP BI toolset is that Cube Express element, that data element, lives now inside the web-based interface that you saw. So the creation of the data modeling all happens inside the portal, as well as the creation of the analytics, really simplifying and streamlining the whole user experience. We've got new data warehouse designs in cubes with updated analytics and some fantastic new visualizations, which I can share a few of those with you right now. So here we go, an example of the CFO dashboard. Hopefully that's rendering quickly enough for everybody. I can see that just lagging a little bit, so I'll wait for that. Let you take that in for a second. Again, that kind of interactivity that we saw is available throughout the dashboards that I'm presenting in front of you now. One of the things that we didn't have too much time to go through is that any visualization that we see, any value that we see here, for example on our income statement, we could double click on those numbers and go right down to the individual vouchers that make those figures up. We've got a accounts receivable manager's dashboard here. Hopefully this is starting to catch up for you guys. Don't want to spend too long on these, but I think you'll agree that these are some great value, really fantastic quality dashboards. And don't forget, those are things that we can implement incredibly rapidly on your data, and for you to take ownership of the application. So with that, Nigel, that's me. If I can hand back over to you just to close down the session, and then we'll do the Q&A.
Yeah, Paul, that's excellent. And thanks for a very clear and concise demonstration of the solution, and showing how simple it is to configure and use the ZAP software. So thanks for that. That's excellent. We have a couple of questions from the floor, which will probably pop over to you, Paul. Is there a requirement for any particular version of dynamic software, either AX or CRM?
So we can go with AX 2009 above. We have templates available for those. No spot release requirements there. We support everything all the way through. We can still utilize the ZAP solution on top of AX4, although the content for that application is a little less due to the age of the product. CRM, we can go from 2011 forwards.
And one final question is how do we kind of look at the solution in more detail? I mean, I can answer that one in that there's a couple of options. One is we can come and see you guys and explore a bit more detail your specific requirements, and also it's possible to set up a trial of the software as well. So there's a couple of things we can do there to sort of take you from the brief overview we've given you this afternoon and explore the solution in a bit more detail. So I think we're pretty much on our 30-minute mark. So if no one else has got any more questions, Just sort of, just to reiterate what we said at the start, is that what we would like to show you this afternoon is that there are other ways of achieving a business intelligence strategy and dashboards and analytics for your organization, and build on top of the value that you've invested in your Dynamics platform. And that is that these solutions can be configured and used pretty simply, as Paul has hopefully shown you, as opposed to building a hand-crank solution from the ground up. So hopefully we've given you a little flavour as to how that can be put together. For you guys out there that are already UBEX customers, then you can contact your account managers to investigate further. For everyone that's new, then you can contact myself. That's nhamblin@ebex.com. We will be following up with all of you. As say, there are recordings of this going to be made available on Monday, so we'll follow up with that early next week. And I would just like to take this opportunity once again to thank you for your time this Friday afternoon, and have an excellent weekend, and we really appreciate your time. So many thanks, and take care.
Thanks everyone. Bye.